Welcome in, everyone, to Darien Sportsplex here in Darien, Illinois. We are just about underway here, just finishing up warm-ups between the Leafs and the St. Louis Knights here at the Bantam Major level here for this 7 a.m. game. I am Mike Napolitano alongside my broadcasting partner, Ethan Wiles. We are just about ready to start a full schedule of games here. Ethan, what are you looking forward to here in this first matchup?
Well, all day I'm looking forward to seeing 8 games of great playoff hockey. We get 12 in 2 days, and you and I get to call all of these games alongside each other, and then get to keep our hockey going next week at the AHL All-Star Game. So we get a lot of good hockey over the next 3-4 days here, and you and I get to spend a lot of time with each other. So
just double checking our audio at the moment, making sure. I don't actually know if it was our broadcasters from last week. I think it was the headphones itself. So now I've got you. We're ready for some excellent hockey here this morning from Darien. Both teams stepping up to the benches to kind of get a little bit of a. Sorry, I got myself talking in my ear here as I'm checking our audio on the stream. So if you're just joining us, maybe you're joining us from St. Louis or from home. Maybe it was a little too early to get on up for this one. I don't blame you, but these two teams are ready to go here.
No better way to watch some hockey than the comfort of your couch with the coffee in hand.
No doubt. When we look at the standings between these two, just before we get started here, the Knights took first place in this Bantam Major Division. 16 wins, 4 losses, 3 ties, and an overtime loss in their 24 games played. And as for the Leafs, they finished 5th with 13 wins, 8 losses, 1 tie, and 2 overtime losses. But we are underway here, and the St. Louis Knights take first possession, but try to work it over the blue line, and that will result in a face-off. I don't believe that puck popped out of play. I believe we're going to get a whistle for an offsides.
But the Leafs are certainly bringing that energy this morning, pumping up the crowd, pumping up the bench. Sticks are banging against the boards this morning.
Down low on the near side. We're up on the shelf here at Darien Sportsplex. So we've got a couple of poles that'll obstruct our views in the corners, and the near side will be a little bit tough for us to see the action, especially with the table in front of us. I'll see if I can sneak out to the side of it and make sure that we can see what is going on down below. But down below we will have an offensive zone draw for the Leafs, lining up for that draw as their center, number 97, Saptella, and he touches that puck still past the blue line, so that'll be another offsides. A couple of whistles early on here. And that will be Nolan Muser this time for the draw, number 91, against Molesky. Moving into the Knights zone, but too many white sweaters in the crease, or excuse me, in the slot there. Turn that puck over, move it up the wall. Shot from a tough angle, goes off a skate and finds its way in front, and then sent to the boards. And here come the Knights on their way out. Levinson streaking up the wing, pulls up along the half wall and throws it cross ice. They send it down low in the triangle from the corner. Knights moving the puck well now from the point. Dumped all the way around, and that'll find, they won't go far enough to find the point, so turned over Leafs puck, but they're having trouble along the wall to flip it out, and that will stay in. Puck has moved up the wall there on the backhand. Good puck protection from the Knights. Off the glass and to the point, still not out. Here come the Knights once again. A shot, blocker to side by the goaltender for the Leafs. I'm going to try to catch a license plate. They have 2 on the roster there. I didn't get a chance to see who took the net initially this morning, and now we'll get a chance. That looks like it is number 13, Kyle Sochecki. Sochecki coming up with a couple of big stops. This puck will come all the way down into the Knights' end, where we will have Grayson Milne in net for St. Louis.
Not to mention these Leafs jerseys are not very announcer friendly. They're black jerseys with dark blue numbers and the other end of the ice. It's a little hard to tell. So
yeah, you've got the St. Louis Knights, who are technically the home team in this one, sitting in the home bench with the home whites on. We've got that Ottawa Senators-like striping across the middle of the jersey, and then you've got the Leafs, who are in their road black uniforms with the blue accents coming up from the waist and the arms. So I just saw a lot of Leafs teams at West Dundee last weekend. If you were tuned into some of those streams, there's a big hit behind the net there from the Leafs as they regain possession of the puck in their zone. 12:41 on the clock. A shoulder in response from the Knights, and they'll knock the Leafs off the puck there. That is Jim Crabb that throws that puck down low into Knight's end. A little forecheck from behind. And the
shot
Leafs
on that by Joseph Sadi from the Leafs. They're trying to get something going for them in response to the Knights.
We're going to get a
real
penalty.
Attempt there. Yeah, we are.
Didn't see what that was. We're going to... it's going to be a roughing call on the Leafs here. Must have happened behind the play or maybe even along this near side wall from my vantage point. But the Leafs will be shorthanded here as looks like headed to the box is Matthew Saptella. No, excuse me, that's an 87. That is Joseph Sali. So Sali will sit for 2 minutes. Shots on goal on the board in favor of the Knights already at 3-1, and they'll have a grade A power play opportunity. Puck is dropped. Finds its way to the point. Goldwasser. D to D. A shot that screams through the blue paint into the far corner. Point to point. The shot gets blocked. That's up and out of play. Good work, yeah, you said, by the Leafs defense there, getting in those shot lanes, whether it's a stick or a body, not allowing anything to get to the front of the net.
It's like Caden Johnson went down on a knee to get in front of that puck.
Knights now. Shot, another stick in the lane. That was from Caden Johnson. To the point. St. Louis walking at the line. Had to get some help from a teammate. That's shot back down in.
By Henry Music. Got some long arms out there, using his stick to get in front of that one and break up any action.
We're going to get, looks like another penalty called here. A little bit of extracurriculars in front of the crease. So looks like the Knights will be guilty of this one. It'll be Grayson Lorenzen headed to the box for a cross-check in front of the net that they called, but really nice point play from the St. Louis Knights. You saw Liam Close that was taking a couple shots from out wide, and he's not the biggest of defensemen, but he's got his D partner back there feeding him, going D to D, just not enough to get something done on that power play, and the Leafs will go to 4-on-4 here, and then eventually a power play of their own.
You can tell the Knights are doing what they want to do here early, and that's put the puck on the net. Get guys around the net, see if you can't get a deflection in there. They did a good job of that right there, but like we mentioned, the Leafs defensive group doing a great job getting in front of the puck.
Most of those shots coming from the outside. That one comes from center ice and is swallowed up by the netminder Kyle Suchecki, so we'll get a whistle and a stoppage of play. 11:08 to go in this first period. 55 seconds of 4-on-4 time, and then it'll be a little bit of a remainder for the Leafs on their power play. So long as we don't get any more calls. From the point, once again, that was Liam Close. D to D, Goldwasser. Long flip shot is gloved and saved nicely from Suchecki.
Goldwasser not afraid to rip one from the blue line, try to get any deflection he can in front.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. You know, just kind of throw, like we were saying, anything at the net early. Just test them. They've got 8 shots on goal, and especially when you're playing 4-on-4 hockey and about to be shorthanded, you might as well take advantages where you can. Ulrich now in the defensive zone, up the wall. Molesky couldn't hold on to that one, so that's deep into the Leafs' end. Pushed off the puck are the Knights, but it's back to the point, and they'll keep that puck in. Ulrich, that was Ulrich's defensive partner, number 27 there, Owen Acree. And here come the Leafs the other way, and the power play time has started. That is Salee out of the box, finding a man in the slot. Around behind, pinched off along the wall, but the Leafs regain possession. Into the slot, a grade A opportunity for the Leafs, and a shoulder check following that. That was number 87, Salee, who just came out of the box there, and he's got that fire in him. Took a shot and delivered a big check in the slot, but nothing doing for the Leafs.
Had a nice setup pass there, too, on the initial opportunity for the Leafs.
Salee
another one here.
On the backhand. Gilligan had a good shoulder check in the neutral zone that leveled a man right at the red line, but that'll kill the power play time. Both teams back to 5 aside. No damage done either way. And we are down to 9:15 in this first period. The Leafs push that puck up the wall and out to center. Ulrich there. Throwing it on net from center. That's the second time he's done that, testing the goaltender from out wide. But look out, here's a turnover along the half wall. Waffle boarded aside by Sachecki. And puck finds the Leafs. Shoulder check from behind. And off the puck, but no call. And that will find its way towards the net in a quick whistle. Even though that puck popped back out, we'll get a face-off in the Leafs offensive zone. Actually, that's going to be for the penalty. They did make that call behind the play. Clayton Herwick will head to the box. Slams the door, too. Not happy about that one. But Herwick, a little bit of that extra shoulder behind the play, and it wasn't the puck carrier. So he'll sit for 2 minutes, and the Leafs will go right back to the power play. Puck is dropped. Leafs regain possession in the offensive zone. Back to the point. Along the half wall. Setting up the bumper on the power play down low. Cycled up the wall to the point. Back to the half wall. Pivoting with that puck there is Saptella. To the point again. A long shot through some traffic, and it made its way to the net, but good save there by the Knights goaltender. Collision along the boards as the Knights try to throw that puck up the opposite wall, and it'll eventually find its way all the way back out of the zone. Leafs will stay out there with their 5 on this power play. 1:17 to go on the man advantage. O'Reilly over the blue line, short-handed. Here come the Knights. O'Reilly again finding his teammate John Stanzi. In front there, Seamus Larrigan. But the Leafs regain control with just under a minute of man advantage time. Moving up center with it and going wide. Muser, shot from a tough angle. Thrown in front of the blue paint, and that had the goaltender swimming, but not able to put the shot on net. Down low, up front, high stick, but it's touched by the Knights. We play on. And into the corner. Collision there, and the Leafs regain possession to the point. A long shot, a high stick, and that almost found its way into the back of the net, but that was a high sticking call, immediately called out by the referee, but Lorenzen on the puck, and we play on. St. Louis into the zone, still shorthanded for the following 15 seconds, but looks as though they're going to kill that from 200 feet from their own crease. Thrown back down low, center ice hit. On close. And out of the box now are the Knights. 6:36 to go here. Both teams have traded a few man advantages, but we still are scoreless from Darien Sportsplex. Leafs shouldered off the puck in the corner. Holding it in. No, they won't. As the St. Louis end get as far as center and then is dumped back down into their own zone. Good defensive communication as the Knights were going for the puck, but also going for a little bit of a set pick right there. Now, you can't interfere, but you could just kind of skate in your direction and stand tall there. That's what this defensive unit did for St. Louis. Backhander into the zone, and that one hit the netting, so we will get a whistle and a stoppage. 5:52 to go in this first period.
All right, before we get our first goal, Mike, I'm going to ask you. We got 12 games. We got 8 games today. How many goals are we seeing today?
How many goals are we seeing today? Well, considering this is the first game of the day, it's the bantam level, and we've got some hitting going on, a lot of physicality. It's been a tight game thus far. I'm going to say this is a low-scoring one, so I maybe we get 4 goals out of this one, maybe a 3-1 finish with an empty netter. I'd say it'd be like a 2-1 game or something like that. So
you're averaging about 3 goals, 4 goals a game.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get about mid-20s.
Yeah, with 8 games, look out, there's a high-rising shot over the crossbar. Yeah, I'm going to go with, so my birthday is the 25th, so I'll go with 25 goals today.
I'm the 23rd, so we'll go with 23, and we'll make it nice and close. It'll be 24, and we'll be
exactly
right in the middle.
Yeah, that's that. We'll set that over/under right there. Is 8 times 3, 24. You'll go a little under. I'll go a little over. We'll see, because we have a bunch of midget games right after this. It'll be a U15, followed by another U15. Then it's a U18, and then a U16 before we get back to the bantam level. And then the final 2 games of the day, midget U18 for both of those. Leafs have it in the neutral zone. Had to find it in some skates there. Knights throw it back in, but I believe that's going to be a whistle for offsides. I didn't see that pop up and hit the netting, so I think they said that may have ricocheted back out of the zone.
So far, the story of this game has been the goaltending. No score, obviously, here still early, but 10-3, the Knights have outshot the Leafs here early in this game. So
that one for sure we're able to see found its way into the Leafs bench near that backup goaltender. That is Jackson Vreeland manning the door for the Leafs, and that'll cause that stoppage of play, but we're back underway here. Lorenzen out of his own zone, but as far as center, and the Leafs will turn it back the other way. This Leafs team playing very well for a 5th seed against St. Louis Knights team that took the division. Now, it's tough because, you've got a team from West Dundee playing against a lot of Illinois teams, and then you have a team that has to travel a lot from St. Louis. So that can either be a favorable travel schedule or a not so favorable travel schedule, right? So, the regular season might not reflect what they can actually do, and I'm not saying that the Knights are worse than their record says, but we've also seen in these playoffs that there's an Aaron Stick there. It's a defenseman for the Leafs. I'll try to grab a number there for you. He's going to be able to pick that up. Looks as though it was 23, Brian Mickelson. But, I mean, you talk about playoffs, and it ends up being a whole different animal, and it can be anybody's game as that puck is kept in and shot over, hits the glass. 3:45 to go here.
And especially in a game that starts this early in the morning, too. That first goal, whoever does score it, is really that much more important to get the day going, to get the game going. You obviously want to bring the energy this early in the morning. So if you can get the first goal of the game, you're bringing a lot more momentum.
No doubt, as there's a whistle for an icing. We'll bring this back into the Leafs zone. But, Ethan, I'll tell you, last weekend at West Dundee, we saw every single game on Saturday decided by 1 goal or fewer. We actually had a tie in there. We had 4 of those, I believe, 9 games go to overtime. One of them still resulted in a tie. Nobody could score in overtime, and that was how that one would wrap up. But all the other games decided by 1 goal, and then even on Championship Sunday on that Squirt level, we saw almost every single game decided by 1 goal. I believe one game little bit more of a blowout. There may have been one game decided by 2 goals, but everything else, for the most part, was a 1-goal deficit. And, you know, there's a collision in behind, and we're going to get another penalty called. It's probably going to go on the Leafs here. 2:57 to go, and they just kind of steamrolled a man in behind their own net. And we'll see who that number is.
One thing is for sure, we're not missing out on the physicality here this morning.
No, these two, you talked about waking up to play early on.
These two are doing that, these two teams.
That is true. That'll be Mason Bach headed to the box for 2 minutes. We have just under 3 on the clock for the actual first period. But going off of those 1-goal game remarks, most of those games were not two teams that were next to each other in the standings. We had a couple 1-2 seed matchups, especially on Championship Sunday. It was the top 2 teams. No upsets really happened, but there were some 1-7 matchups, 1-8 matchups, 3-5, 3-6 matchups, depending on how many teams are in each division, and everything was kept close. So, you turn on, doesn't matter where you finished in the standings, you made it to the dance, and you just turn that extra little bit on for the playoffs. Maybe some of the top teams get a little complacent, but here's the Knights in the offensive zone, pushing the pace with their power play. 120.
Continue into hammer shots, too.
D to D. They move this nicely on the top of the umbrella. They almost have 3 up high. And there's a shot from the center of the top of the zone.
Oh, an Acree with the shot there.
To the half wall. To the defense. Shot hits a leg right there. Another good block in the lane by Caden Johnson. This puck comes all the way back down, and St. Louis will have to regroup with 48 on the power play clock. A tip at the blue line, so no icing there on the power play. They hold it in at the half wall to the point. Shot is blocked again. Leafs doing a nice job of getting in front of every single lane, but that one will find its way all the way back down. This will be an icing. 1:23 to go in this first period. 27 seconds remain on the Knights man advantage. Just another unit out here for the Knights. A little bit of chit-chat before the whistle, getting set up. Just lining up for that draw is Clayton Herwick. He's got Goldwasser on defense alongside Liam Close. Puck is dropped. And the Leafs able to win it forward and get out of the zone. Here comes a shorthanded breakaway. Salih, backhander, and that just goes wide. Salih shot out of a cannon. We saw a similar instance when he found his way out of the box, and in about 10 seconds the Leafs will be out of the box once again, but he was on his wheels moving through the neutral zone, getting that shorthanded opportunity, and power play time is up. Puck is still in the offensive zone, though. Leafs will elect to not even use the man in the box as their 5th man. They go for a change right there. Could have been a little dangerous because that gave the Knights a little extra power play time with a 5-on-4 possession in the offensive zone. But that puck finds its way out. We're down to 30 seconds to go here in this first period. To a side as they battle for it in the corner. It's tough to see with the post and the railing over here, but looks as though the Knights come out with it. Not able to clear their zone. That'll be thrown back down low, down to 15 seconds remaining. Lorenzen now out of the zone. Lorenzen doesn't have options, so he'll just dump that puck deep. Down to 5 seconds to go. Lorenzen back in the corner. To the point, and time will expire before that shot can get let off from Close, and we will go into the first intermission scoreless here in our first game.
Not a good start for our 20-some goals here.
Yeah, no kidding. So we'll head to the intermission here and be back with some second period action from Darien Sportsbook. For Ethan Wiles, I am Mike Napolitano, Stream Sports Midwest. ready to go here for period number 2 between the Leafs and the Knights. You hear the avalanche along the bench from the Leafs as they bang their sticks against the boards, and we are underway in that second frame. Another 15 minutes on the clock. Puck is dumped down into the offensive zone for the Leafs. They just killed a man advantage for the Knights at the end of that first period and had a shorthanded opportunity, actually gained a little momentum themselves. Steal the puck down low, and that's thrown in front, and that could have been dangerous. And we're going to get another call here on the Knights as a cross-check from behind sends a Leafs forward tumbling into the net. So that's the only thing we've seen in the net this morning, Ethan. But it'll be the Knights. I believe that's number 8, Gabe Ulrich, headed to the box. Yes, indeed. So 2 minutes here for the Leafs man advantage.
One thing we mentioned in that first period, a lot of physicality, and that's picking up here in the second. Still waiting for that first goal.
Matthew Septella wins the draw for the Leafs to the point. Good keep in there on a bullet pass down low into the corner. Back to the point. Is Muser at the point, and shot from a wide angle is gloved and held by the goaltender Milne. Milne's been tested only 5 times as they show up on the scoreboard right there, but I'd say that he's seen some higher quality shots maybe than I'd say the 13 that are on the board for the St. Louis Knights as that puck hits the skates of the official. Septella trying to get that low, kept in at the point nicely by the Leafs. Defensemen switch sides, and Leafs try to cycle the puck along the boards down low. To the top. That puck was knocked down by some bodies in front, and a rebound opportunity could have been dangerous, but that stays out. Another shot is blocked by the shin pads of Lorenzen. Off the wall here, the Leafs. That puck rises over the net and hits the glass. Collision along the far boards and behind the net. The physicality right there from the Knights as they're able to clear that puck. Muser with a man pressuring him. That is number 29, Steven Shapiro, giving the Leafs a little bit of trouble and playing 200 feet from his own net on the penalty kill. Leafs able to gain possession in the zone after almost a mishap in the neutral zone, passing-wise. Sally into the zone. Thrown back to the point. Leafs throw it down low, and a grounder scooped up by Milne. 12:49 to go. 12 seconds on that power play.
You talked about Milne only seeing 5 shots. They just put 4 up on the board there, and he did not look comfortable on a lot of those ones. A lot of loose pucks in front there. The one that you had mentioned blocked in front, I don't even think he knew where it was there for a second, but it was hit aside and behind the net.
Indeed. So we'll have these final 12 seconds of Leafs power play time as that puck escapes the zone, and Lee will corral it as the power play is expiring. You hear the stick from Sochecki on the far side as 5 to a side. We've traded a number of power plays here and still nothing doing on either side. No score. Leafs in the neutral zone. D to D gets gummed up and trying to get back into the offensive zone where the Knights, but a little bit of complacency from Molesky as he doesn't realize his skates were across the blue line as his teammate picked it up, and that'll be an offside. It was Tommy Clanton that picked up that puck in the neutral zone and just hopped it over the boards, but his teammate was just kind of creasing that blue line. St. Louis into the offensive zone. They dump it down, and that was short of center, actually, so we're going to get an icing there. We'll come back all the way down to the stick side of Milne. Milne, an opposite-handed goaltender. He's got the glove on that right side, blocker on the left. Actually, excuse me, this will now come to the glove side. Doesn't change his handedness, but it's always something to look out for in goaltenders. Typically, you've got, of course, if you play baseball, you're a righty, you throw with your right hand, you've got your mitt on your left hand. Most goalies, left-handed mitt, stick in the right hand, but Milne is opposite, so if you're the Leafs, maybe something to look out for as you go through this game if you haven't noticed it already. I'm sure you have in that first period, especially on that power play, but doesn't necessarily mean one side is weaker than the other. You still have to figure that out through sending pucks at the net. They've sent 9 there now. They're still outshot by this St. Louis squad as they get into the zone. Gliding along the boards there. And here comes another whistle for another power play. Penalty behind the play, and it'll be Molesky now arguing with the official. And it's a high stick, so the Leafs will head back to another power play.
Right, and their bench knew it immediately, too. They were calling for that as soon as that happened.
Yeah, you heard the bench itself up in arms going, hey, what the heck? So we'll have another man advantage here. Maybe something can get done here. Matthew Saptella loses the draw, though, and the Knights able to work the puck out to center, and the Leafs will regroup in their zone. D to D, Muser. Evading a check at his own blue line and working up with it now. Across the far blue line. Goes wide with it, looking for a lane to the net. Getting set up instead. Saptella at the point, the center, playing defense for the moment. A little mishap stick handling wise, but able to get it down deep. We'll try to cycle the puck there. Around behind the net to the far corner, to the far point. Down low. Leafs using the perimeter now. Saptella gets it back on the half wall. Down low, back to him. Working down low again with it. Stick tied up a little bit, but able to get that puck into the far corner. To the point. Walked with it there and sent back down low. Trying to make that cross-ice pass, and that won't go, so the St. Louis Knights will be able to get that out of their zone, and West Dundee, the Leafs side of things, will have to corral behind their own net. Moving up with it now. Good touch pass at center ice, and Salih going wide. Puck protecting on the backhand, leaving it in the corner for a teammate. Tough angle shot is blocked by the defense. Thrown in front, too many white sweaters, and that'll hit the glass. It'll actually hit the Leafs member that was changing, but no penalty there for too many men as they corral it at center and dump it back down. 9:30 to go. Power play is expiring as of now. Leafs still in the zone with it, but Molesky out of the box. Tough angle shot. That one hit a stick and went high and into the glass wide. St. Louis maybe back to even strength, but a couple of tired legs out there. They don't know. I don't think they knew where the puck was in that corner there as it had popped out and they were still poking at each other's skates. Leafs keep it in the offensive zone. Another pinching defenseman, and that gets thrown back to the point. Leafs calmly from the point, and then it's finally slapped all the way down, and that'll be an icing on the St. Louis Knights. You know, you get a little bit of a break, Ethan, with icing at this level because you can ice the puck and still change here. So the St. Louis Knights, they really desperately needed a set of new legs out there, and they'll get that with 8:44 here.
Yeah, the Leafs have definitely been taking charge in this second period so far. Obviously, the power plays are helping them, but you got guys chasing after pucks like they have been here, you're going to be dead.
Thrown in front, and a grade A point-blank opportunity from the Leafs. Caden Johnson just looking up to the sky after that one wouldn't go, but a nice save there from Milne. And we stay level here in this one. Stay scoreless, I should say.
Well, he's been very good on both ends defensively, and now obviously putting another shot on net there as well. But he's been very good with his stick.
The Leafs trying to keep this puck at center. Instead, it'll be the Knights in the offensive zone. That one goes high and wide off the glass. Gacci sends that one down. Leafs moving up along with it just past center when they made that pass, so no icing. Milne comes out to play it, but it's picked up by the Leafs down low. Shouldered in the corner. That one hits the skates of the official, and St. Louis will just be able to trickle that back out, and here comes the Knights on the offensive. Molesky, a shot hits the side of the net on the near side. Muscled for it there. He gets some help from a teammate. That is Augustus Mangelsdorf. Thrown to the point. Long shot finds its way to the pads, but a good save there from Sochecki. To the point there, kept in nicely on the blue line. Almost looked like that snuck out, but it stayed on that blue paint. Good skates there, but that one will finally be carried out by the Leafs, and one man to beat other than the goaltender. Good puck protection in the corner. Trying to find a lane in front. That is Joseph Salih. We've seen a lot from him this morning, whether it's been in the box, streaking out of the box, physicality, or shots. Leafs behind their own net. Using the half wall and cross ice pass to get that out to center, but it'll get dumped back in by the Knights and had to be sticked aside by Sochecki. Thrown all the way back down, and that will be an icing on the Leafs. 6:32 to go here in this second period. No score still. More than halfway through this game, and we have not seen anybody break the ice. Face-off will come to the stick side of Sochecki. Lining up for the draw is John Stanzi for the St. Louis end of things. Trying to catch a number on the Leaf side. It looks like it is Matthew Saptella. Actually, it might have been a 57, Dominic Leone. Leafs clear their zone after a nice block in the lane by, that was Saptella. It wasn't the one that took the draw, though. And that was short of center, so another icing. Leafs are guilty with 6:17. Face off now to the glove side of Kyle Sochecki. We got Clayton Herwick lining up for the draw against Henry Music. St. Louis getting hounded in the corner. They send it to the point. D-to-D pass. Long shot hits the pads of Sochecki, and the Leafs chip that puck all the way out. It's not going to go far enough for icing, so O'Reilly there to play it. You know, you've got a St. Louis and an O'Reilly who wears number 90. You got to think that there's maybe either some inspiration or possibly some relation there. But I don't believe Ryan O'Reilly has, I don't know if he has kids at this age level. With the fact that he's still pretty recent hockey player in the NHL. Very talented one as well. He's not on any Olympic rosters, I don't believe.
I don't believe so, no.
I gotta double check now that the Olympics have started as of last night, but the hockey itself doesn't really begin for a couple of days here.
Women's well underway.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot they started early. That's going to be exciting to watch as well. You see the PWHL coming to Chicago twice this season. We saw once in December at the Allstate Arena, and it'll be there again in March. And couple of Olympians in the house. That was Kendall Coyne Schofield the first time, and then it'll be Hillary Knight the second time. Both USA teammates. And that puck is thrown in front and just lost in the skates on the pass by Brendan Krysiak. Leafs in the offensive zone. Along that half wall, it pops out to center ice, and a nice shot there from the Leafs, but soaked up by Milne, and a little bit of shoving after the whistle down low, but the referee is there to snuff that out. 4:24 to go.
Well, you get a sense that this first goal is really going to be a potential game-deciding goal. With no scoring here, about really 2 periods into this game, that first one's going to be that much more important.
The longer you go scoreless, the more monumentous that becomes, right? Because that will be even more of a weight lifted off of a team's shoulders, but more of a dagger into one team's sails as we get deeper into this contest, because you've fought so long to keep things scoreless as that puck is in a dangerous area for the Leafs, but nobody could corral it and throw him down into the near corner. Hachi, a tough shot from a tough angle. It finds its way to the net, but patted away there from Sachecki, and we'll get another whistle for an offsides here. New skaters for both the Leafs and the Knights. Full sail line changes on both sides, but yeah, you're trying to keep those legs fresh and strike first, because that next goal just gets ever so much more important as we go on here. Knights still out shooting the Leafs 19-10. Puck is dropped. Leafs win it forward and almost had an extra stick on it with the goaltender moving, but that puck will find its way back down into Leafs territory, and they'll start from their own end, turn it over in the offensive zone, but here come the Leafs the other way on a breakaway. Nicholson in all alone on the forehand, and wow, spread out to make that save, and down was Milne, and I think he just got the glove on it. Nicholson with a breakaway from his own blue line. Couple of stick handles, goes to the forehand, nothing doing, and another glove save there from Milne.
Definitely getting some well-deserved stick taps there on the bench from his teammates. There's a great look from the Leafs. Gets shot down.
The Knights had just blown a tire at the far blue line, and just a little bit of a mishap, and next thing you know, Leafs could have the first goal of the game, but Grayson Milne said not today. 3 minutes to go here in this second frame. Still scoreless as that puck is over the glass and out. We do have netting on this near side, but that one found a hole as it almost went into the locker rooms. 2:59 here in this first period. We started this game pretty much on time, 7 o'clock. It's 7:50 here, so moving nicely. The next game will be on this same stream. We're just going to change that scoreboard you see at the top. That'll be the Chesterfield Falcons and the Cyclones at the Midget U15 game. And in fact, I actually got a call from Aaron Sheldon today. There's a shot from the Leafs right off the face-off, and that one is gloved by Milne again. Actually, so we have actually a... we have may have a break in our schedule on this next game. I believe the Cyclones have had to forfeit due to the fact that most of their team has come down with a stomach bug. We saw a stomach bug rip through the Blackhawks locker room just about a month ago. Yeah.
It affected some of the Ice Hogs players down in Rockford a little bit there.
Yeah, we did want to speak to, through one of my other jobs, we wanted to speak to Drew Comesso about his first NHL win, which was also a shutout that got overshadowed by the Bears beating the Packers.
Yes, it did.
Rightfully so. But, we wanted to give the guy some love, and as soon as he got sent down to Rockford, that became more of an option for us to speak to him. But great broadcaster and friend Dana Gray told us that it's going to have to wait because he just got what the other two goaltenders got, which was the reason he got pulled up to the Blackhawks in the first place. So, tough break for the Cyclones. And here's the Knights into the zone. Shot from the top of the slot with a couple of bodies in front. That hit a skate. Down to 2 minutes here in this second period. Up the wall and all the way back out. It's going to go far enough for icing against the Leafs.
It's tough to hear, especially in playoff time. It's never like to get sick, but when you get sick during playoff time and you have to miss some games, it's an unfortunate way to have your season wind out.
Faceoff will come to the stick side of Sachecki.
Unfortunately, too, that's going to put a damper in our 20-some goals. We're going to have to decrease that by 3 now, I feel.
Yes, actually, yeah. Well, yeah, we were doing it by what we thought was the 8-game mark. So I guess, yeah, maybe it'll be down to 21 is our baseline.
And so far, no score here.
You never know, though.
Goaltending.
We might get a barn burner somewhere in there. So maybe our higher picks are a little bit on par. Lorenzen from from a difficult spot for Sachecki, and he makes the save. Lorenzen taken down along the boards. No call as both sides kind of tangled each other up. Leafs desperately trying to work this puck out from behind their net. Taken down there. No call, won't play on. Leafs moving up with it. Subtella along the wing. Clanton had a stick in there that knocked the puck free, but thrown back to the point. Leafs will get set up from the point. And turned away by St. Louis with just about 60 seconds to go here in this second period. Moving up with it. A shot. Caught a piece of it was Sachecki, and that hit the back glass. He heard it and got deep into his crease there. Leafs off the end boards. Backhanded, flipped out of the zone, and they'll pick it up at center. St. Louis able to evade their own zone. They get as far as the blue line. 30 seconds to go here. Tough angle shot, and the post has been knocked off of its pegs there. Almost got fixed by the goaltender. It's a little bit off still. And we still don't have a whistle. The net is still off. Just ever so slightly. Not sure if the official sees it. Goldwasser. A long shot goes wide. Goldwasser again, and that one is gloved by the netminder Sachecki, and he'll be able to glove that, but then I'm not sure if he told the official about the goal right there, but I think the trailing official noticed it, so he's going to go check it. And actually, it's Sachecki that fixes it himself, so we are good to go. Thank goodness there was no goal there, otherwise we would have had to question if that was a legal tally. And that was just at the buzzer. So we will head to the third period with still no score between the Leafs and the St. Louis Knights. Right here in our first game, this is the Bantam Major playoff matchup. Myself, Mike Napolitano, and Ethan Wiles will be right back here from Darien Sports Complex for the Central States playoffs on Stream Sports Midwest. ready to drop the puck here for third period action from Darien Sportsplex. Mike Napolitano and Ethan Wiles on the call. Still no score here between the Leafs and the Knights. St. Louis coming into this game out shooting the Leafs 20-3 as the 1 seed, and that one comes on net and took a weird bounce off the pads of Milne and into the glove for a save and a whistle. 15 seconds ticked off the clock. We got 15 minutes to play here. Somebody will have to find the back of the net or we will head to overtime. Draw will come to the stick side. That is the left side of Milne. He's a switch goaltender there. Chen moving up with it. Tough shot from an angle gets deflected and forced Sachecki to have to regather himself in the crease. Leafs send that puck deeper into their zone to get it out of danger, and then up the wall, not out. Flipped off the end boards. That is Mason Bach. We saw him head to the box earlier, and he'll get that puck out defensively. Goldwasser had a teammate blow a tire at the blue line. They'll get a change as they dump in. 14 minutes to go. Picked up in the corner by Mangelsdorf. A little shoulder check to the side of Clayton Herwick. To the point, Ulrich. Stopped by the shin pads of Joseph Salih. And picked back up by Salih. Good stick work there through the legs, but not able to pass it to himself in the neutral zone. Knights send it all the way back down into the Leafs' end. And I guess that was onside. It's tough to see from this angle here, but Knights keep it in. Leafs try to get it out of the zone now. That was Ulrich with that keep. Still along the half wall. If the Leafs are trying to use that half wall there, you've got 3 Knights positioned along the boards. I don't think it's going to get through all 3. Stays in. Ulrich from the point. No lane. Tried to walk with it. Stick in the skates, and the Leafs will be guilty of a tripping penalty. Even the crowd knew it on that one. So headed to the box will be the Leafs' number 91, Nolan Muser. Crucial time.
Yep, I was going to say, see if the Knights can capitalize here on this power play and get the first goal of the game on the board.
13:01 to go. 2 minutes on this man advantage here. In the offensive zone will be the face-off to the glove side of Sachecki, and we've seen some really good possession along the perimeter for this St. Louis side of things. They desperately worked that puck in off the draw. Lost stick from a defenseman of the Leafs, so it's really more like a 5-on-3.5, and wouldn't you know, the man without a stick has to eat that puck. That looks like it was number 59, Caden Johnson. He has been in every shooting lane here this morning. And that one, even without a stick, he had to eat off the shin pads. Looked like it stung him a little bit. He gets to the bench. His teammates eating shots as well.
Got the stick in front of it on that one.
That time they had a stick. Beforehand, Johnson didn't have a stick on that one. That's always tough, especially being short a man. That one flipped out of the zone, and they'll get a quick one-man change, but still down a man. Goldwasser tried to enter the zone, just kept in there at the blue line and kept in once again, but that will find its way out to center. St. Louis regrouping in the neutral zone across the blue line. Onside. Big body from Mangelsdorf shouldered the defenseman off and able to get that puck to the point for his defensive pairing. Giving chase to that one is Grayson Lorenzen in the corner. Lorenzen, cross-ice pass. A shot that is blockered away. Actually, it might have been chested away by Sachecki. Down low with it, Mangelsdorf. Lorenzen to Mangelsdorf down low after that shot deflected wide. Leafs still getting in every single shooting lane. I mean, you talk about a team full of Nicholas Hjalmarssons right here. Absolutely stopping every single puck until that one is flipped out of the zone. And once again, like I said, we have netting over here, but that one finds its way out and to that far stairwell over here. So 11:08 to go, 7 seconds remaining on this man advantage.
You could tell Liam Klaus just wanted to send that one around the board, and it, you mentioned earlier, found the one hole in the netting, and it went up and out.
You know what? They've found that twice. If only one of these teams
That's
could
true.
find the back of the net. With that kind of accuracy, it's surprising that this is still a 0-0 game here.
As the seconds tick down, it seems like it may just be that one. All it takes is one, right?
No doubt. That was Eric Levinson that tried to wait for his teammates to get back out of the zone, to get back in for the offensive attack on the man advantage as it was expiring. But we're back to 5 aside, and that was an offside. So faceoff will be in front of the Leafs bench, won by the St. Louis Knights, but picked up by the Leafs as they send that puck down. Goaltender Milne comes out to play it. O'Reilly had a tumble in behind, and the Leafs are going to be able to keep that in momentarily. Stick in the midsection, though, and the Leafs will head back to being shorthanded as we have a delayed call here. I thought they touched that puck at center, but it wasn't possession. So a hooking call here on the Leafs once again, heading to the box is West Dundee. Palms up on that one. Didn't think he had gotten the full stick in there, but Johnson will head to the box. We just saw him have a great shift defensively, and the Leafs will be shorthanded without him there on this
He's had
one.
a couple great shifts defensively throughout this game today. You're right. He's definitely going to be missed during these next 2 minutes, which as the seconds tick down becomes more and more crucial here late in the game.
Exactly 10:30 on that game clock. 2 minutes for the power play once again for St. Louis as they work it to the point. Down to the half wall, cross ice pass, grade A opportunity, and that one waved off until a final putback in from behind. Looks like that was John Stanzi on the rebound. Referee was adamant to wave that off at first, as that looked like it snuck through the wickets of the goaltender. I think good defense from the Leafs, but then Stanzi makes no doubt on that back door.
Yeah, it wasn't the first shot, but it looked like some second effort, or I don't know if it was loose in front. He may have fallen on the puck and kind of knocked it back in there, but you're right, on that first effort, the ref came in and waved it off and then immediately pointed it as the goal about less than a second or two later.
So we finally have a score in this one. That was
Another
on the
penalty.
power play, and here comes, another tripping call. So, I mean, the box has been busy here today, but the Knights themselves find themselves in the lead. And the Leafs headed back to the penalty kill. Subtella in the box for tripping, and the Knights looking to now add to their lead here. A second goal could be crucial. Stanzi at the draw, wins it back for his team. Chen from the point. Down low. Sent around the end boards, and we got another quick whistle. It looks like the net has been knocked off its pegs, so before we can continue with the power play in the offensive zone, we got to fix that. I mean, you talk about monumental goals. I mean, not only to do it with the momentum on the power play and kind of defeat the Leafs, it was Johnson of all people in the box. That not only hurts for Johnson, but also the Leafs. And this St. Louis team will definitely take what they can build off of from that. Lost in the corner, and the Leafs are going to be able to clear their end. Finds its way all the way back down, though, so this will be an icing. 133 on this man advantage for St. Louis. They converted on the last one. They're out shooting the Leafs 22-14. 9:39 here to go in the game. Stanley wins that back. Achi to Chen. Chen hits the shin pads of Johnson. He eats that one again. Chen again looking for a lane. Doesn't have it, but that one finds its way in. What a beautiful shot from Chen as Johnson looked like he was standing in the lane to eat another puck once again. And that one found not only the near corner, but it bounces into the far corner. And both top cheese.
As you say, I couldn't tell from where I'm at if it hit top left or not. I thought he went top right, which would have been even more impressive, but to ring that one around like that.
That's the type of one that looks like it goes off the post and goes into the far corner of the net. But that one was near corner and then found its way far corner. So that netting either is just very taut in the Leafs net over there, or that was just that hard of a shot, a rocket of a shot that found its way and rattled in the top of the cage. So we'll get a timeout here from the Leafs. And we will take a timeout here ourselves right here from Stream Sports Midwest for the Central States playoffs. Ethan Wiles, Mike Napolitano from Darien Sportsplex. We're back after that timeout from the Leafs. They go down 2-0, 2 quick power play goals for St. Louis, and that's the difference in this game is in the man advantage here. It was not in the first or second period, but you take enough of them and you're going to find yourself either chasing, or if you're the recipient of said power plays like the Leafs will be here, we will see the St. Louis side, I believe, headed to the box. There's going to be an injury here as well. Coaches coming out to check on their skaters. And we'll get a couple of players skating back to the bench. So we're going to take yet another pause here to make sure everybody is all right. And we'll be right back here on Stream Sports Midwest. Joining you here once again from Darien Sportsplex. As we were just paused for an injury. That was number 19, Cooper Ward, for the Leafs side of things, that was able to get off the ice himself. Rattled a little bit, but tough hockey player right there. He's all right. He's going to skate on off the ice and out through the penalty boxes. So it doesn't look like he will be returning to this game, but him being able to get to his own feet and leave the ice is a good sign. Leafs in the offensive zone and a little bit of shoving after the whistle. But the referees take care of that. Still 2-0 here in favor of the Knights. Third period action, 8:58 to go here. As it's 5 aside, and the Leafs will try to build some momentum here offensively and get back into this game. Both sides have played a really good game. It's just the Leafs have been guilty of a few more penalties that have given a little bit more of a lopsided score towards the St. Louis side. And a late offsides whistle right there. Shot came from Salih after the whistle, so a little bit of face washing going on both sides, and this face-off will come back out in front of the St. Louis zone. Excuse me. Well, yeah, their zone, but also right in front of their bench. Puck is dropped. St. Louis takes control. Up the near wall, into the offensive zone. Chen down low, throws that through the blue paint. He's already got one here today.
Got an assist on the first goal of the game, too. Set that one up nicely.
Down low in the corner.
Got another beautiful setup there, too, on that attempt.
No doubt. Ulrich hounded at center ice by Krzyzak. Leafs up the half wall and out as far as center. It's turned back around. Chen giving chase once again. We saw Chen at the point during that power play. I've noticed him on defense for the majority of the day, but typically when you're on that power play, you get 4 forwards and a defenseman, so he might have just been that 4th forward, but he can play that point position very well. But on this last shift, we saw him up on the rush quite a bit. Not sure if St. Louis is just jumbling their lines. Not they have a little bit of a padded lead. Just trying to see what works, especially one of your goal scorers today. St. Louis D-to-D behind their own net. Picked off there by the Leafs. Trying to throw that in front. Too many white sweaters in the way. And St. Louis will break back out. Off the boards. Pass to himself. Tough angle shot. Just couldn't pull the trigger on it. That was number 14, Eric Levinson. O'Reilly finds the Blues defense, and Johnson able to carry across the blue line and dump that deep. O'Reilly, another tumble into the corner. He's had some trouble behind the net right there. Not sure if there's a divot or what. He's back up on his feet. Leafs trying to pin this puck down low. They work it out to the point. Off the half wall and back down low. Mickelson. And turned around by the Knights. They'll skate up with it. Shot. Poked at in the crease. That goes wide. 6:11 on the shot clock. And this one comes back out via the Leafs. Number 91, Nolan Muser. The Leafs will get that puck deep, but turned over. St. Louis trying to go up the gut to get out of their zone. They will. Pass to the winger. Leafs take back control, ringing around their own end boards. And St. Louis picks up in the near corner. Whiff on the pass from Levinson. Muser not able to locate that one, and Leafs will have to defend once again. A lot of changing hands here in this third period with just 5 minutes to go. Leafs seem to want to get this puck and get set up, but too many white sweaters around, and it seems as though St. Louis' side of things, they're getting a couple of rushes here and there, but not able to really sustain pressure unless they're in a low pressure area. Not able to find too much in the offensive zone. Once again, the two teams play pass with each other, close into the zone. Shot fought off by Sachecki. And the Leafs trying to carry up out of their own zone with it. Will turn it over. This is Lorenzen down low, flipped in front, tough angle from behind, and that'll be gloved and whistled by Sachecki. 4:26 to go here. And the St. Louis side of things looking to hold on to this 2-goal lead. 25-15 shots in favor of the St. Louis side. Leafs up the half wall hard and out. We'll send it all the way back down, and that won't go for icing, so they'll have to play it there. Leafs in the offensive zone. Ulrich flips that puck all the way out. Shapiro's going to race there, but looks like it'll be icing as Mason Bach was back there to touch up. And under 4 minutes to go here, still a 2-0 scoreline. Leafs desperately trying to find one here. If you could get that first goal and cut this lead in half, you're kind of back into things. But it's going to be tough after giving up 2 power play goals. This will be Grady Gilligan at the draw. Leafs don't win it, but it comes back to them and out of the zone and all the way down for icing once again, so we'll redo all of that. This Knights team, 62 goals for during the regular season. Only 34 goals against. They finished the regular season on 1 loss. As far as this Leafs squad, 75 goals for. So they're more of an offensive team, but they also give up a lot more. 67 goals against. So only an 8-goal differential. And they had won their final game of the season coming into these playoffs. So 1-game win streak, 1-game losing streak, but it'll be the opposite here if this score line holds. Just under 3:30 to go. Leafs, go ahead.
Despite being scoreless here at the end of the second period, I thought that the Leafs had the momentum coming out of that second period and into this one, but the Knights have rallied really well here and obviously scored twice to take the lead here. But yeah, I thought the Knights have played really well in this third period, and then the Leafs kind of evened up the shots there going into the third period, but the power plays obviously have helped, and they've taken advantage of the man advantages.
Exactly what you said, Ethan. It seemed like the St. Louis side started out hot and more shots on goal, but the shots on goal that the Leafs did get kind of carried that momentum into that second period to give them a little bit more of those high danger chances or those opportunities. They fared well, just couldn't put the puck in the back of the net as that goes off the back glass. And then it was just getting caught with too many penalties in a row there. Not enough time in between, I guess, for your penalty killer unit to get some fresh legs, and you find yourself trailing 2-0 very quickly as that shot is rifled over the top of the crossbar as well. On this far side, we saw a little bit of antics after the whistle in front of Milne in net. Extra tap from the Leafs on the glove, so they're trying to get under this St. Louis skin. Muser trying to center that puck into the slot. It's behind his man. And the St. Louis Knights will flip that puck back out. Leafs regroup in their defensive zone. Tried to stretch past through the neutral zone and barreled over there. We're going to get a whistle for a penalty. Bates is going to head to the box as he caught Saptella just in the lower side of things after the puck had already left the vicinity. The Leafs going to get a much-needed power play right here. Let's see with 2:04 if they could do something with it.
And need to do something and do something quick. Mentioned trying to get under the skin of the Knights here, trying to get that advantage. They got it. See if they can put one on the board here with just over 2 minutes left.
Face off to the glove side of the switch-handed goaltender Milne. That one's thrown from the point, hits a couple of shin pads in front and never makes it to the net. Gilligan to the red line, up to the blue line, but turned over, and the St. Louis Knights will clear. Leafs carrying up with it. Sali over the blue line, but not able to hold these zones, so Leafs thwarted on that attack. They'll have to find the puck in their own zone and carry back out with it. Gilligan moving across the blue line with it. A shot hits the blocker, goes wide, and trying to dive on that was Milne, but that puck was tipped wide before he could pounce on it after he made the initial save. So rebounds to be had for the Leafs there. That one hits the back of a Leafs sweater and stayed in momentarily, but it dropped to a Knights defender and thrown back out. Sali to give chase to that dumped puck and thrown all the way back out of the zone. Goaltender pulled for the Leafs with 38 seconds to go here. So a 6-on-4 as Moser, another penalty as the stick got into the midsection of Nolan Muser. And it looks like we are going to see a 6-on-3 here. That's going to be interesting. Headed to the box there.
If you're Grayson Milne, you're just hanging on for this next 35 seconds. You want to preserve the shutout. Bates and
Liam Close is in the box.
Yes.
For the St. Louis side of things. He's been a vital defenseman for this Knights squad throughout this morning. And it looks as though the Knights are going to call a timeout here. Leafs already used theirs. They got 6 skaters out there compared to the 3 for the Knights. That'll be number 77, Grayson Lorenzen. Number 98, Will Goldwasser. And number 27, Owen Acree, excuse me. The 6 skaters for the Leafs. Johnson is out there. Caden Johnson blocking a lot of shots today. He'll get some offensive zone time. Nolan Muser, who just had that stick in his midsection. Owen Strauss. We've also got Henry Music. Sali, who we've seen a lot of this morning, and Matthew Saptella. So those are your 6 skaters for the Leafs as the Leafs steal a stick in the corner, and one of the 3 defensemen for St. Louis without a stick. So it's a 6-on-2.5 basically. Puck pops over the blade of Lorenzen, but kept in by the Leafs. Along the half wall, Goldwasser moving into center and able to dump it deep. 9 seconds on the first penalty, but an icing call. So 10 seconds remaining in the game. 7 seconds on the first man advantage. Of course, another 1:36 on the second, but the Leafs need 2. To the far point, a shot. Another shot and a rebound in close there. 2 seconds remaining on the game clock. And diving on that puck was Milne. 2 seconds remaining in this game. 2-0 in favor of the Knights. And the Knights going to be changing their defensive line right here. Actually, no, center and looks like one defensive. No, a winger. They were just lined up a little bit differently. Thrown in front, and they find the back of the net. And they are going to count that one.
Wow.
So we are going to have a whistle here. The clock did go off, but I think that was just a human delay of timekeeping. Well, this is interesting, though. Technically, if you count that goal, there needs to be a face-off afterwards, but it looks like both teams are just lining up for the draw. So we have 2-1 on our score sheet just because that was the referee's whistle.
And
we don't have
2-1 on the board. So
and there it is, yeah, 2-1. But we're not going to have a face-off to restart things, as are the traditional hockey rules. But hey, if you're Milne, you got to chalk that one up as a shutout.
59 minutes.
Basically, yeah.
44 minutes and 59 seconds of shutout hockey. That's incredible. That's something I've never seen.
Yeah. But a 2-1 final here, no final face-off. I don't think it would have really determined a different score here. But the St. Louis Knights come away with the victory in this first game over the Leafs. I don't believe we are going to have a second game here today because, unfortunately, the Cyclones have come down with a stomach bug. So we're going to take a little bit of a break. But Ethan and I have a total of 7 games here this morning. Our next game will be a 10:20 start. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games here. Next one will be the Peoria Rivermen versus the Blues at 10:20 right here on this same stream. That'll be in the Midget U15 division. And we will be back with that one. So for my broadcasting partner here, Ethan Wiles, myself, Mike Napolitano, we will see you for Stream Sports Midwest Central States Championships in just a few hours.